Yo, what is up guys, Digirex here, and today I'm coming at you with a Destiny video, and this Destiny video has been in the works for a while, the Blind Perdition review. And yeah guys, we are going to be reviewing the Blind Perdition, the Trials Pulse Rifle. So you actually get this Pulse Rifle from getting 7 wins in Trials of Osiris, or getting it from the Flawless chest. My version is not adept, so it came with this paint job. If you get it in adept form, it comes with a nice black and gold paint job, but this looks pretty good too. So all the Trials weapons have a fixed set of perks, which means there's one role you can get, and this is the role. You either have CQB Ballistics, Smart Drift Control, or Smooth Ballistics. I would personally go with Smooth Ballistics, as this one can get you max stability, and this one can get you like close to max stability, but these make the range pretty garbo. So I would spring for the extra range, and you really don't need the extra stability on this thing. This thing is perfect on stability. I mean, it's like pretty dang godly. And if you do get the adept version, it comes in with an intrinsic perk, which is snapshot. So you get that extra quick little snapshot instead of just nothing. So that's only if you have the adept version. This isn't the adept version. So in the second column here, you can have small bore or hand-laid stock. I go with this for increased stability since we need this for the range. This balances off, and plus, I really don't want to reduce mag size and reduce reload just for more, range. That's pretty garbo, so I run with that. And it does come with high caliber rounds, which is a beast in PvP. And this is where this weapon shines most in PvP, but we are going to be doing a review for PvP and PvE all in this one video. We're going to do PvE first and then PvP first and then PvE. And yeah, this is a beast in PvP, making people flinch like crazy, making you win tons of gunfights. And now this weapon is effective. This weapon is effective at an extended range. I don't know why I had so much trouble reading that. Maybe it's because I'm autistic. No, just kidding. I'm not autistic. Don't joke about that. That's not funny. But yeah, it barely gives you any more range, and this is pretty beastly in PvP. So this is kind of obvious. You want to run high caliber rounds. Alright, so now this column is where it gets a little bit interesting. It has Outlaw and Counterbalance. Both perks I'm very, very fond of. So Counterbalance, this weapon has increased stability. Is pretty beastly. I mean, you can see the stability here, and this weapon fires like a frickin' laser beam. But then the reload is also pretty good, so why would you want to run Outlaw? Well, I would run this to make it even more laser beamy in PvP, and then this in PvE, just so you can get that fast reload, because you can get this perk to proc a ton in PvE. And yeah, guys, we are going to jump right in this review. So I'd run this for PvE, this for PvP, and we are going to jump right in this review, starting with PvP, because that's where this weapon shines most, and that's probably what's most going to interest you guys. And then if you guys do want to see the PvE, stay till the end of the video. Alright, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the review. So guys, we're starting off in PvP here, and I'm starting off with PvP because that's what this gun is most known for. This gun is an absolute laser beam in PvP, and by laser beam I mean it has perfect stability, and it has a crazy DPS time. I mean, it can down enemies really fast with just almost no recoil. It's insane how much of a laser beam this thing can be, and I am super happy with this thing. If you prefer a Hawksaw archetype of weapon, this is the best gun in PvP flat. But if you prefer, more of a Grasp Malik, the Clever Dragon will be good for you. These two are probably the best weapons in PvP, and then I'd say the Palindrome is a close third. But I'd say this is probably up there with the Clever Dragon. And the reason I really think this gun is good, well, obviously because it is the Hawksaw archetype, which is just godly, and it has pretty perfect stability as well as the damage of the Hawksaw, and they all come with this role. So you have high caliber rounds, which is super useful in PvP. I mean, you're winning most of your gunfights just because of the high caliber rounds. It gives you a serious edge on most of your opponents in the Crucible, just because they can't hit their shots because you're shooting them so much, and it's just super useful to have. I mean, honestly, you don't see the effects that it has, but it definitely has effects on the enemies. You'll be winning a lot more gunfights than if you use something, say, like the Hawksaw, just because it has high caliber rounds built into this. And the second advantage that it has is the scope. Now, the scope actually highlights targets, which can be useful for some situations, And these situations are, you know, when you're looking through like a grenade or something, this will highlight the targets through the grenade or through the smoke, so you can get an edge on that gunfight if two people are shooting through a grenade or smoke. This can be especially useful. It can be especially useful when you're shooting through grenade or smoke or anything like that. Say somebody like throws a smoke, somebody tries to wombo combo you, and it lands like in front, or there's a grenade around you, like a storm grenade or something. You can shoot through it fairly easily with this, when still having deadly accuracy combined with the stability, and you can just see them with the scope. And it's actually really useful, gives you a serious edge on some of these gunfights. Now the scope I personally like a lot. The scope is nice and clean, like besides all the highlighting and stuff, the scope is just a nice clean scope. It's almost perfect for getting headshots just because of how clean it is. I mean, it's just a dot in the center that highlights people, so it's super easy to get it on the head. It's not like some of the other, say like Sur scopes, where they're a little bit awkward, the reticules are a little bit awkward, or some of them you don't, like the bullets don't land exactly where the reticule is, which can sometimes be annoying. But this scope is super clean, and this scope combined with the high caliber rounds really gives this weapon an edge in PvP, as well as its just crazy damage output and crazy stability. You can use this thing from a pretty fair distance and still be successful with it, so you definitely want to stay out of range of hand cannons and stuff like that. But if there's a shotgun rusher, don't be afraid to challenge him with this thing. You'll most likely kill him before he gets to you, just because of the massive DPS this thing can put out. I mean, like, some of these clips here I'm battling enemies where a sniper would even be good, or a scout will be good, and I'm beating them. So now moving on to PvE. This weapon is definitely not as known for its reputation in PvE, and that is for a good, you know, reason. This weapon isn't really meant to be PvP. They definitely designed this weapon to be more of a godly PvP weapon, which obviously it is, with all these factors going into the PvP section. But this, you know, you have Outlaw on it, which is pretty good. You get it to proc fairly often, and it makes the reload pretty fast, and you can empty a lot of rounds with this thing with Outlaw. This weapon does still do a lot of damage per burst in PvP, or it does a lot of DPS per second. That's not really, you're not really going to be damaging bosses with this thing in PvE. You're mostly going to be using your sniper or heavy, but if you don't have either of those, say like on the access phase where like it's not the last phase and you're only supposed to use primaries to do DPS to them, this might be good just because it pumps out a lot of DPS per burst. But then again, you wouldn't be able to get Outlaw to proc on that, so you really just need Outlaw to make this thing good. If you don't really have any other option, which most of you probably have better options, like pretty much any scout rifle is better than any pulse rifle in PvE. If you don't have any like god roll scout rifles, this would actually probably be pretty good for you. And I'm not gonna fluff it up for its PvE uses, because it's primarily a PvP weapon. But I will say it is usable compared to some of the other pulse rifles. Like, I would never use the Clever Dragon in PvE. I would never use like the Grasp of Malak or anything like that. But if I were to use a pulse rifle, this or something like the Nerwin's Mercy would probably be it, just because this has the Outlaw. And the high caliber rounds really don't help much in this, or the stability, because stability doesn't really matter as much in PvE, but it definitely helps. So it's not really a star in PvE as much as it is in PvP. And yeah, it's just a pretty average weapon in PvE. Sorry, it's good in PvE, pretty average in PvE, and I think that's gonna wrap up this review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, this is my in-depth review of the Blind Perdition. I hope you guys get this. It's pretty easy to get just from Trials of Osiris, and if you have that snapshot perk, it even helps more with PvP. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This thing is an absolute beast. I hope you guys get this and get to try it out for yourselves. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe for Division, Destiny, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare Remastered, and Infinite Warfare gameplay, and Overwatch. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been Ninjarex. Peace.
almost there.